Welcome to the stories that shape our community. My name is Trevor Moore, and I'll be your host in this Southeast Alberta podcast series where we explore the importance of putting local first and the power positive impact has on shaping our communities. These episodes are all about giving listeners a backstage pass as we explore the why behind these great local business stories. There is no one-size-fits-all approach in business, and these journeys are as unique as the people themselves. Our local guests will highlight the challenges, solutions, and philosophies they have employed to overcome adversity, showcase resilience, and have a positive and lasting impact in our community, not only today, but well into the future. This week, we tell the story of Matt Brassard with Sports Connection. A super exciting one for me. Matt was somebody that has been in my world right from being a young child. He was my next door neighbor, and it's awesome to have him here. We want to harness the word connection in Sports Connection. Matt, welcome to the show. Owner/general manager, Matt, great to have you here. This is honestly, this one's fun. You and I have these conversations not often enough, to be completely and utterly honest. I'm putting that out there right here today. I'm challenging Matt Brassard to have more coffee and conversations with me because I do enjoy them a lot. We have actually a really storied background, quite honestly. If we look into this podcast, anybody in the business community would maybe know that you and I are friends and business acquaintances. And then one of my first mentors in the business world was your father. And that's what makes this an exciting one for me. I look at the scenario. We're here in Sports Connection. And the thing that jumps out at me right away is the word connection. Because when I know your father in this business, and I knew his philosophy on business and community involvement in people and relationships, connection just makes sense when you look back at it from that perspective. And you've since obviously migrated into taking the business on, and you're moving it forward. And you have a lot of the same philosophies. I'm looking to dig into some of those things today, because some of the things that I've seen your father do, I'm seeing you do, and I want to dig into some of those because I think there's some great information for the listeners out there who are looking at some of the challenges and those things that businesses go through and some of the stuff that we can look at. Let's look at this really quickly out of the gate, because I think one of the things that I want to maybe look at right out of the gates is optics. Like, as a business, anytime you get into business, there's sort of the optics of the business. You're starting a business and you're starting a business model, and you're also finding a little niche for yourself. There's an optical perception out there that I think often gets misunderstood. And entrepreneurs, a lot of the entrepreneurs I know get it, but it's the idea that just because there's a franchise name tagged to a company does not mean it's not locally owned and the money doesn't stay local and those types of things. And I know that that's a challenge. As soon as somebody sees a franchise name, they're like, well, I'd like to support the local guy. This is the local guy, actually. Do some research into it is a big one. That's a challenge, isn't it? When you have that franchise name attached, it has advantages without doubt, but it does have some challenge, and that is getting yourself to be accepted and acknowledged as a member of the community.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that we're constantly advertising is shop local. We are local in Medicine Hat. Source for Sports is a national buying group, and with that comes the signage. So when you go from town to town, or you're playing sports, all over the province, the country, wherever you may go, you'll find a Source for Sports somewhere. And every single Source for Sports from coast to coast is locally owned and operated. We buy in as a group. For example, we'll go to Bauer and say, hey, we want this skate for X number of dollars. There's 150 plus stores that are going to buy it. And that has allowed us to survive and more importantly, thrive in our industry. We can't compete with big box stores punch for punch. It's the David and Goliath story. We have to rely on the local flavor. We have our finger on the pulse in our city. Most of us that work here play the sports, coach the sports, ref. We're very engaged with what's going on in the community, and someone in this store knows somebody who's running something. And that's where we can bring the correct product and service to our town based off of our needs here.
Yeah, and I love that the idea that, again, it gives you some obvious logistical opportunities as an entrepreneur on the back end. it doesn't take away and it doesn't strap your hands in terms of how you can serve on the front end. It's not this pure franchise model where it's like, no, when we said 3 napkins, we mean 3 napkins and 1 olive. Like you have some creativity at your hands and you have the ability to be invested in. And I see that. I mean, obviously with your father, that was a big one. And it's being invested in the community is just an organic way to help people understand that you are actually local, and I see, as you said, you got your employees are wearing the product, using the product. It's funny you say that because my son plays sports, and yeah, I mean, every time we've come in here for any piece of equipment, typically one of the staff members, we recognize him, know him to say hi. Like I maybe not know them by name, but this guy, my son's game last night, or this kid was, and we kind of, it's really neat to see that investment. So is that something that's really important to you when you look at your staff, is that they understand and buy into that sort of community philosophy?
Absolutely. And it goes back to your observation with our name. It's the connection. When people walk through our door, they're not just a customer, they're not just a number. There's somebody walking through the door who's in need. And what that need is, we don't know. So it's important that our staff ask the right questions to ensure that the product we're fitting or suggesting matches the level of gameplay. There's been many times where, maybe dad's the sports guy and he's working out of town or can't make it down here, and mom brings, the son or daughter in and is unsure of what to buy. And that's the number one point with my store here is, one, we're not commission based. So whether a staff member sells you a helmet screw or $1,000 pair of skates, you're going to get the same level of service. It's very team orientated. So there isn't a single job that holds more weight than another one. So no matter what time of day, what day you come in here, you're going to get that same level of service and respect that our customers deserve. And that to me is the most important thing, because without our community, without the local people shopping here, we don't exist. Yeah. So it is a two-way street, big time.
We can beat the rallying cry of shop local, shop local, shop local. But you also see moments where it's one of those shop local because I'm local, that's why you should support me. There's no real effort to go, but I'll earn your business being local. So you can't just ride the coattails of shop local. Like you have to be, living and breathing your brand. You need to be local. And how do you really, either yourself or through your staff, how do you invest in the community? And we're not talking striking checks and dollars and cents. What are the little, intangibles that you do or you believe are important to making sure you can really empower that shop local idea?
The shop local kind of movement really started, well, it's always been ongoing, but it's really hit hard within the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years. People have started to really push that way. The key point with shopping local is making sure that you're relevant. And what I mean by that is, if I have product X that's $29.99 and you can go down the street and get it for $24.99, how can I sit here and say, well, spend the extra $5, shop local? Okay, why? Why does that person spending money here have to overpay just because I'm a local guy? They work just as hard for their money as I do. So one of the things we implemented was a price match guarantee. And that's value to my customers. That's value. And when I tell them we're the best in town, come see us, trust us with not only the products that you need, but the value of what you're going to buy here. And that is kind of the pillar that feeds everything that we do in this store, is our customers are number one. And how can we make sure that when they're spending $1 here, they're getting the most value out of that dollar? And our commitment to that is every day with a price match guarantee. And then we take it next step by providing that service. Trying to compete with the big box stores, we can't. Their marketing budget is massive. We don't have those dollars.
In those big chains, sometimes the marketing budget looks like someone's annual sales. Like
when I walk in here every day and turn the key and open up shop, I feel like I have a responsibility to our consumer, to our customers, to bring the best value to the table, whether that's price, service, selection. All those things kind of combine to make a store what it is. Going back to, going punch for punch with the big guys, you can't. Yeah, you have to find it in and around to make things work. For example, a big box store in town, not going to name names, but their spend on advertising and promotion is probably what I pay some of my guys annually.
Yeah.
And what would I rather have? Would I rather have nobody standing beside me and every billboard in town tied up? Or would I rather have that word of mouth, that small town feel of, hey, you know what? I went and saw those guys and they helped me out. Like, those are your go-to guys. And to take it even further, big part of my budget, my marketing budget, is giving back. I would rather see money go into our grassroots programs than, a big national commercial. Where's our dollar going to go further? I've built some programs over the years and carried some on that my dad built. And together we fine-tuned those and made them what they are today. Obviously in the Timbits and Novice division, we have a super sport program where at some point in the season, every kid is going to get a coupon to bring back into our store. Whether they were the hardest worker or scored their first goal, it doesn't matter what the accomplishment was. Some child did something special throughout the season and they're going to get rewarded for it. So they come into our store and they redeem that for a package. And to see those kids light up, that's what it's all about. That's why we're here. Without those kids wanting to participate in sport and parents grabbing their coffee and heading to the rink before the sun comes up, it's a commitment. So when a parent's going to commit to that sport, we need to commit to that parent and, more importantly, to that child. Lots of parents come in and we don't do it for the parents. Even though they're the ones paying the bill, we do it for the kids. It's so important that these kids get out to that sport that they love safely with the right product. And it's not always the most expensive. I had a young kid a couple years ago who needed a new helmet, had some concussion problems. And I looked at his helmet and his helmet didn't fit. And he was a kid that moved to town. And I said, let's get you fit right. And the mom was prepared to spend $300 on this helmet. And we got him into a helmet for just over $100. And she said, wait a minute, I'm okay paying more. And I said, when we fit helmets, it's not about the price. It's about the fit. Which helmet fits your kid the best? That's the one we're going with because that's going to offer the best level of protection. And she was blown away that we didn't spend her entire budget. And that's not what we're here for. We're not here to steal every penny out of your pocket. We want you back tomorrow and the next day and the next season.
It's about the next sale, right?
Yeah,
and away go.
Trust.
The trust, right? The trust is huge. I want to put an analogy out there. Like you talked about, the service and things like that. There's, if you look at sort of like the marketing perspective, and, if you were to, look for, product or service X and you drive by and you see a billboard with a picture of the person that delivers product X or whatever, and great, it's got impact, it's powerful, sure. But you instead are at a cocktail party or a house party and you're sitting by the punch bowl talking to a guy and he has and works in the industry or the service you want to need. Which guy are you buying from, the guy at the punch bowl or the guy you saw on the billboard? And 9 times out of 10, the guy that you met at the punch bowl, because he's going to recognize your face when you come in and you have created some rapport and they've really got to know you.
That's probably one of my biggest strengths and also one of my weaknesses is the gift of gab. I know for sure I've had customers come in and they leave half hour later and they're like, oh man, I did not have that half hour to spend, but Matt talked my ear off. And that's what I love about this store is the social aspect. People coming in and the excitement. You rarely see people walking into a sports store upset that they're coming in to buy something. when you finally figure out which product you're after, you get to go shopping for it. That's half the fun.
Yep.
Coming in here and being like, wow, what's new? What can I buy? What can they help me with, sort of thing. And it comes back to that connection with people. And nothing better than shaking someone's hand. I've often been told by people a lot older than me that I have an old soul. And at first, when I first heard that, I didn't understand really what that meant. And as I've gotten older, I've started to realize that the way I do business is very old school. It's a handshake. I think when you put ink to a contract, it's so binding that there's a nervousness there. And I have had some dealings where there is a contract that needs to be signed, whether it's with a organization in town, a minor hockey, baseball, softball, doesn't matter. I don't like signing their contract because I don't want them to feel like they're obligated to come to me. If I'm not doing a good job, fire me. That's my commitment to you. I'll shake your hand. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. And if I don't deliver, fire me. And I think that's the fairest way to do things. If I sign a 3-year deal and I don't deliver year one, why is it fair to make them come back for 2 more years when I didn't do what I said I was going to do? And that's a big part of, I think, why we're so successful is when we tell somebody we're going to do something, we do everything we can to do that. We will trip over ourselves to make sure our customer is properly taken care of. And if they aren't, we're going to do everything in our power to make it right. And that's the biggest commitment we have to our customers is old school handshake. Our word is our bond. We're going to do what we say we're going to do and to try and deliver every single time.
I love the term old school. And it makes me wonder philosophically whether it's old school or is it just business and relationship building fundamentals 101? And it's been that way forever because it's just right.
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that question because problems arise every single day in our industry. Whether we're dealing with COVID right now and, I place an order for a customer and it's 6 months and it's still not here. That's not okay. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the world, but what are we doing to make that right? It's as simple as a follow-up phone call. Hey Jim, your baseball bat still isn't here. I followed up. It's just not here yet. I don't have a delivery date, but I wanted to let you know I'm still on it. Not having radio silence. Communication is key. And trying to convey that to a customer is everything. Just letting them know that we are doing what we can to get you the right product. COVID seems to always be the focal point of any conversation. You circle back to it. And at the start, I would get annoyed when people are like, oh, COVID this, COVID that. I'm like, that's an excuse now. COVID's past. Yeah, there is a trickle effect, but what are you doing to move past it? What are you doing to not complain about it anymore and to flip that script and make it a positive thing? And it's the cards that you're dealt with.
Yeah.
Every great poker player that's ever won has never had the best hand every hand.
Yep.
They've worked with what they've had and they've been creative. And that's what I love so much about this store and the people it attracts. My team here is top notch. I've had some amazing employees come and go. And it seems that every time a gap needs to be filled, someone comes in and rises to that challenge. And I know that kind of steered off topic a little bit from the original question, but that's so important to know that because the people that work here were once customers. And that magnet effect of they not only shopped here, but the experience they had made them want to work here. At the end of the day, you have to move on and you have to keep doing what's right, not just for the business, but for the people here.
Mm-hmm.
And when Dad passed away, not a single person left. They stuck with me. They stuck by my side. and we got through it. And there are still 2 guys here that were part of that. They're still here today. One's worked over 20 years for me, and the other one's 15 years now. So that was a testament to what Dad had built, and the direction he took the store, and how he treated the people. And it's not always about making money.
It's not, and that's the thing. I think that's a great segue out for us today, is that conversation. Matt Brassard, Sports Connection here in Medicine Hat, and great to have you on. Thank you to our podcast sponsor, the Medicine Hat and District Chamber of Commerce, who is fueling the business community in Southeast Alberta. Through connections, support, and influence, they are driven to shape our community. Their hope is that this podcast will help you and your passion for supporting local first. To learn more about the Medicine Hat and District Chamber of Commerce, or to watch more episodes of the stories that shape our community, please visit them online, medicinetchamber.com/stories that shape our community. In addition, please follow us on your favorite podcast streaming app so you don't miss any of the unique stories we share, the inspiring guests who share them, and the impact they have had on Southeast Alberta. Stories are all around us. We just need to connect and be able to share them. If you want to be featured in this podcast with a story of your business or organization, or you know a story that should be shared, please submit a nomination to the Chamber website. Thank you for watching or listening, whatever you choose. We look forward to having our stories shared with you and the way they help shape our community. I'm Trevor Moore, the host of the Stories That Shape Our Community. I challenge you all, be sure to help shape our community through your very own story.